or Fat Kid. That's why.
I'm not gonna call you fat. I might call you fat kid. Still punch me if I say hey, fat kid.
No. I'm insulted.
We're live. We're live. What a way to start, man. All right, we are here with Lethal Injection. We've been chatting it up. Well, Bobby got everything rolling. I'm here with Ryan, aka Fat Kid, and Emily, aka Miss Cyanide.
Yep.
I'm super excited. I've never had hip hop rap artists on. We've had death metal, we've had rock and roll, a little bit of everything. So,
I mean, it's an honor to pop your cherry
hey,
for you.
Yeah.
thanks, man. I thought there would be something like dinner involved, but never mind.
Oh no, I'm cheap.
I'm cheap, but I'm not easy. Yeah. So let's just jump into it, man. If you want to start, just give a little bit about your background, where you're from, what got you into music, whatever, however you want to roll, man.
My name's Fat Kid, Ryan, but everybody calls me Fat Kid. That's my stage name. I'm originally from Indianapolis, Indiana, and my background in music was I come from a very fruitful music upbringing. Like growing up, from my mom, I was listening to music like anything from Motown, Temptations,
Nice.
Jackson 5, Monkeys wasn't Motown, but stuff like that. And then coming out of my brother's bedroom, you know, I heard all kinds of music from like Metallica, Slayer, anything death metal, and then he got into his hip hop phase. And I really related to a lot of the hip hop music that he was coming out with. And then my oldest brother, I got like Prince and Pearl Jam and stuff
Nice.
like that. So like, but the hip hop I related to a lot. I just like the sound and the way the music was curated
Right.
then. And, you know, I grew up in a single parent home. You know, when I was little, you know, my mom was struggling working 2 jobs to upbring 3 kids on her own.
Right.
And, you know, my dream was like, one of these days I'm going to make it big and I'm going to buy my mama a house. Like, that was my dream. Like, I wanted to buy my mom a house. And that's why I got into doing music, and now it's just what I love.
Awesome, man. Emily?
I work at Wendy's. I am your AI voice. Hi, welcome to my Wendy's. How can I help you?
It's funny. Yesterday, somebody came through the drive-thru, like she did that voice, and the guy gets to my window, and he's like, "Is that person really here? Was that a real person?" I'm like, "Yeah, she's at the next window."
So I'm known as your Wendy's AI girl. And I'm born and raised from Coshocton. MTV was on in my house when we had cable growing up. MTV was on all the time. My mom liked music blaring, and my mom has been singing since before I came out the womb, and so
Awesome.
I'm so used to hearing her sing. And like her mom doubted her because of her weight, so you're never gonna be anything. You're fat. Nobody wants to hear you sing, and I was like, I'm gonna be somebody, big or not.
Somebody should have gave her like an Aretha Franklin record or something and been like, okay, now say that again.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but Gem is also another big reason. That's why I'm like, always
Yeah, you show your cup. Show your cup.
Gem. I'm a big Gem fan. I love both sides, the Misfits and Gem and the Holograms. But the Misfits, their songs were better.
Yeah.
But that's why the pink hair. I've always had a fascination with music. I love writing. I really have a passion for writing. So when you was talking earlier about you felt like you were mechanic or engineer.
Right.
So maybe writing here because I love to write.
That's awesome. Do you write other than music? Stories or fiction?
Younger, I used to write stories, and then I got something I was working on. It's called The Life of Cyanide. So it's just kind of like my biography
that's
of
cool.
some of the things I've been through to get to where I wanted to be with music. And I've never thought I would get to the places I've been with music, to be honest. I just can't get over all the crazy stuff.
That's what I wanted to bring up next. How I met you, I was watching documentaries, and I watched a Vice documentary, and you know, like we said earlier, when you hear Coshocton and on the news or on a TV or something, your ears go up, and it was you, and you were at the gathering of the Juggalos, and they had Miss Juggalo contest, and you got up and performed, and then I went through Wendy's, and I seen you at Wendy's, and I was telling my wife, I was like, I'm pretty sure that's the girl from, and my wife's like, please don't embarrass me. And I was like, no, I honestly think it is. And I asked you, and you said it was. And then I thought, oh, that's so awesome. And then, you go on and ate my burger, and it was good. And then fast forward a couple years, and I go through again, and you're there. But now I have this platform. I'm lucky and blessed to have this. I thought, I got to get you on, because that was so cool. Like, you can elaborate on the Vice stuff, but I just found that so cool, because I just thought, I watch Vice all the time. Like, I watched them in the coca fields. I watched them.
13. And I've been starting to record music at 16. And my first gathering was in when I was 16, which was 08 or
Caveman Rock.
But it was Caveman Rock, Illinois. And man, it was so hot there. But I loved it. I remember being so young and believing the Dark Carnival so hard. I still I still believe in it. But then it was just so hard. I woke up and it was real foggy, and you can see the carnival lights and games and just stuff in the midst of things, and it's just I am here. I made it. I can't believe it.
Well, and that was a continuous theme through that whole documentary. Like, everybody they talked to, they all said, "We're a family.
Yeah.
We're a family here.
Yeah.
Like, you need something, you don't have any money, we're a family."
There is still true good juggalos out there in the world. There really is.
It was just it's fascinating
it has
to
grown
me.
harder over the years to trust.
Right? Yeah,
But-
because there's a lot of scammers and assholes in the
I
world.
went to my
yeah.
first gathering in '06, and I went to a bunch of ICP concerts prior to then, and everybody's like, "Oh, family, family, family." I'm like, "Okay, cool." That's just what they call the followers or whatever. But when I went and witnessed my first gathering, I fully understood what they meant by family.
Right.
It's 95 degrees outside, and you just see this random guy sweating his butt off, shuffling his feet trying to get to his next spot, and it's hot. And you just see a bunch of random people that never met this guy a day in their lives. They're like, "Hey, man, come in under our canopy. Here's some water,
hydrate,
here's some
yeah.
food." And,
Dude, juggalos also
make
have
sure
a
everybody
great
was
trading
good.
system. You can trade a cigarette for a hot dog for a Faygo.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's crazy some of the sexual things you can trade for stuff at the gathering.
Well, that was another interesting thing, but we'll try to brush on that
it's all
gingerly as we can. I don't judge. I don't mean it that way. It's just If you're curious
he
about
has a funny story that deals with it.
if you're curious about what we're talking about, you can look up the Juggalo gatherings. They're all over YouTube. There's some really cool ones.
Yeah.
There's some that are just kind of some guy walking around with his phone, but there's some really good ones out there.
So what's funny is there was a period of time we didn't know each other, but we were at the same places
Literally
all the time.
feet from each other, and
There's a picture of us together before we even knew who we were.
That's pretty cool.
And you can tell them that story if you'd like, because it's hilarious too.
when me and her first met and decided we was gonna start recording music together, she was living in her mom's basement.
Oh no, I was talking about the sign.
Oh.
The Cleveland.
Oh, okay. There's a group that I used to hang out with at the gathering. They call themselves the Cleveland Committee, and the blank word.
Titty.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Well, I didn't know if you
Yeah,
allowed to say that. The Cleveland Titty Committee.
I think as long as we just say it and we don't spell it, we're fine.
Right. And we was hanging out in the Spasmatic tent, which was like this big half-built barn thing at Cave and Rock, Illinois.
And it had a bar.
And it had a bar inside of it, and they would sling Faygo out of it. It was funny, and it was called the Spasmatic tent.
And they sling. The ICP had their own energy drink at the time called Spasmatic, and it had a real crazy commercial and stuff. But they sold it up out of there too.
But-
So that's how it got the Spasmatic.
Okay.
Anyways, me and the Cleveland Titty Committee, we was grabbing random juggalos and stuff. Was like, hey, our homie couldn't make it this year, and he wanted us to take a picture with as much family as we could. Can we take our picture with you? And then they'd be like, yeah. And when they're not looking, they'd stand beside us, and we'd hold a sign up above their head, and it would say random things like, I've got anal beads in right now. It's random stuff. Well, there's this girl there that I knew from my area in Indiana. She says, I ain't got no money, but I want a bitch beater. And at that time, a bitch beater, there's a vendor there that sold these really huge turkey legs. And they called them bitch beaters because it looked like something Fred Flintstone would take and beat women
Like
with.
a caveman club,
Yeah,
right?
a caveman club. And I was like, all right, well, I got you. So I made up this cardboard sign that says, I think the bitch beater at the time was like $10 a piece or whatever. And I was like, we'll give head for $10 or a bitch beater. 4 or 5 hours later, that girl comes walking back up to me with a bitch beater in each hand and like $80 in her pocket. And I'm like, what the hell you been doing?
But the anal bead sign, he forgot to mention this part. They came up and was like, hey, can I get my picture with you? My homie ain't here. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And I'm throwing up
You
like all
fell
happy.
for
I'm
it.
like, yeah. And then there's a sign right behind me. It says, I have anal beads in right now. And I never knew it because I
Oh,
didn't know.
wow.
And back then it wasn't like how cameras are now.
Right, everybody,
Like, you
yeah.
couldn't instantly upload.
Yeah.
Right.
So I didn't know, but years later it got uploaded to the Cleveland Titty Committee Facebook. And I was like, oh my God, it surfaced.
Well, now you can never be elected president because they'll dig that out. And
Yeah.
like, wow, you were on this committee. And
Yeah.
The gathering is great for that. There is lots of little clubs and groups and things. Every year there was Club Chaos and then the Shangri-La Resort. And it's funny because we worked the Shangri-La Resort. Even the first year that I had went in like 08, he was there too. And in the second year, there too. And we didn't know it. And he was working security and I was working the bar for the little nightclub on the grounds.
nice. So how did you finally meet then?
I used to do, after that, I used to do, it was called Blog Talk Radio. So that's like the original podcasting back then.
Right.
And it was so cool because I do it on my computer and I'd have a call board and I could take calls and replay shows and it was really cool. And it was called Miss Cyanide's Twisted F Shop. And so we just talk about crazy stuff, music, sexual things, blah, blah, blah. And he called in about his music career because I was always about interviewing artists.
Right.
And I interviewed him. And then it was funny. We had started talking after that a little bit more. And because we were going to work together musically. And we lost connection. And then
Somewhere along the line.
yeah, somewhere along the line. But I still had his phone number and everything. It was great because I found that piece of paper years later after we got together. And I was like, you see this? And he's like, oh, see, we did know each other. But we reconnected, this is funny, on POF, which is Plenty of Fish.
Okay.
So we reconnected on there and we met up and we had our first big date for New Year's Evil. And I got to see him beat up a guy in the parking lot.
That's love right
Yeah,
there.
no,
like,
Well, it wasn't over her. It was over a fan.
Yeah, it was over a fan.
Oh.
A guy was being very disrespectful to a girl that was there having a great time, rocking out,
Good for you,
and
man.
buying drinks and stuff. And he called her a retard, and she does have
A
a
disability.
disability.
Right.
So it was like really uncalled for, dude. Like
Right.
she's here having a good time. You didn't need to call her that. And he
Yeah,
dog walked the guy in the parking lot.
I just want to put this out there, man. I don't advocate violence in any way, shape, or form, but good for you.
Yeah.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, you got.
but
You got.
you don't. I
Right.
gave the dude an opportunity. I was like, look, man, either you apologize to the girl, or I'm gonna beat your ass.
Right.
He
Hey.
said, "F you, F that girl," and I said, "Wrong answer,
All
bud."
right. Well, good for you. So musically, I don't mean to miscategorize
No,
things.
it's okay.
Is it rap? Is it hip hop? I've heard. I've heard horror rap. Is that
Yeah,
a thing?
horrorcore.
Horrorcore. That's what it was.
There's a lot of different genres out there, but I used to say that our stuff is realism.
We call
Okay.
it realism rap.
Because I'm rapping about real thoughts, feelings, ideas,
Stuff people can relate to.
stuff that
Okay.
people can relate to.
Like
but
everybody thinks just because we're juggalos, we automatically do like horrorcore.
Yeah.
rap and stuff like that.
Well, that's what I wasn't sure
we,
about.
We have to explain to them, like, we are juggalos, but we're not juggalo rappers. We're
Yeah.
rappers who happen to be
Oh,
juggalos.
I
good
mean,
point,
I've only
good
done
point.
like one song using Juggalo references, and I used Juggalette, and I used it in the competition, and that was the only song I ever did that was Juggalo related. But I was doing it for my lads because I felt like there
Right.
wasn't a whole lot of songs out there for Juggalettes that was
Right.
going through being abused, and it's not okay.
So if people wanted to find your stuff, where would they find it?
You can find it at reverbnation.com/lethal injection, and an injection is spelled INJEXION.
Okay.
And then you can also find on YouTube, but a lot of the stuff you're going to find under my name, which is Miss Cyanide, and it's spelled CYAINIDE. I
And-
spell it with an extra I to be different. Also,
Yeah,
copyrights.
yeah. Right.
See, I know when you get into the doing music and stuff, if you change something by 10%, it's yours.
Yeah,
It used to be that way. I don't know
yeah,
now,
yeah.
but I still assume.
So, do you guys have upcoming shows?
We're
right-
taking the winter off right
Yeah.
now because we took a 2-year hiatus. Like
It's been longer than that.
well, maybe it was a 3-year hiatus. We went on tour with a big artist that used to be signed to ICP's label.
Okay.
And we went on tour with him and a couple of our other buddies. And then right after tour, you know, right before we left to go on tour, some unfortunate things had happened. Cyanide's father passed away and
Sorry
stuff
to
like
hear
that. And she got into this funk to where, like, I don't want to do it no more. And so we took like a 3-year hiatus and let her.
Also, I was sick for a long time.
That too.
I was suffering. I thought at the time was gastroparesis, and so like that's where your stomach doesn't work right. It doesn't want to dump food properly, process. You got to eat a diet of like brat, which is like rice, bread, soft stuff,
Right.
and then like everything had to be like mush. So like I was eating like
Baby food.
yeah, and here to come find out, and this is how we found out. I had a 4-hour gastro study done,
And
and it came back. Nothing was wrong with me. Nothing was wrong with my stomach. There was no signs of gastroparesis. So what it boils down to is I was smoking so much marijuana. I smoked like an ounce a week.
Right.
I'm not even lying. I smoked
By
an ounce a
herself.
week by myself a week, and I was suffering from hypocannabinoid syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
A year ago, so I went from July to July without smoking, and I didn't get sick once.
Nice.
I never got sick. And it was like, that was it. After I found out about the 4-hour study and I took that year break, it was like, holy cow, it was hypocannabinoid syndrome. So if you don't think, you think, oh, we didn't, no. Too much of anything.
You're
can make
absolutely
you-
right. Too much
Too
anything.
much anything.
You know?
And I was under a lot of stress. I was going through a lot in my mind. And that's how I was taking it
Well,
out. And I shouldn't have.
and,
I should have been taking it out more positively
Right,
with music.
right. But you've always been told, oh well,
Oh, yeah, it's
you
not
can't
power, it's
overdose
not-
on weed. You can't,
Right.
So,
I do,
yeah,
I
mean,
do smoke, but I try to keep it very minimum now. Like I
Right.
try to only do it on the weekends.
what's really funny is here in the last week or so, I've seen a lot of people bringing up hypercannabinoid
Yeah.
syndrome on
I
social
have
media.
too, yeah.
And a lot of people's like, that's not real, that's fake. And I pop in there and I'm like, no,
It's-
is very
it's
real.
real.
My
Yeah.
wife suffers from
It's
it.
real.
Well, if you take too much niacin or too much B12, it's not
yeah,
good.
I
for
mean,
you know what I
drinking,
mean?
Ibuprofen.
drinking
Yeah,
too much
anything,
energy
yeah.
drinks or drinking too much alcohols. I mean, you get nicotine. You can get nicotine.
But
I read one time that most of a hangover is from nicotine withdrawal and not from alcohol.
Huh.
Because if you think about it, man, like when I used to smoke cigarettes and drink, I would probably smoke 2 or 3 cigarettes to one drink,
Yeah.
Right.
and then say you smoke 2 packs of cigarettes on a Saturday night, and then you wake up Sunday. Unless you plan on smoking 2 packs of cigarettes, you're going to go through withdrawal because your body's only used to smoking, say, a pack a day,
Right.
Yeah.
and then you double it one day out of the week. I read. I'm not well read, but sometimes I read things that interest me. And this
Yeah, I
doctor said
understand.
that a lot of hangovers are nicotine withdrawal, and I just found that very interesting because it made sense. Because I smoked like they wanted their packs back.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I was burning them up.
But back to the question, we we took that hiatus and everything, and then after the hiatus, she decided, I want to get back into doing this. Let's do this again. And I was like, okay, well, let's do it. Let's start off slow or whatever. And I was supposed to start off slow, and it literally was nonstop because our first show that we did back was that benefit show or the back to school show we did at the art park with ASC.
Yeah, in August.
Yeah, we put that together and brought Anthony in on it and everything, and we was like, okay, we're going to do it slow. And it was like all the way up until 2 weeks ago, at least every weekend, if not every other weekend, we was traveling somewhere doing a show. And we started.
Before we started doing the shows and stuff, like for me to come out of my funk, I finally was like, okay, I'm going to come out of my funk. I started getting busy. I was like, we're going to go to the Gathering parking lot party. So this is the road to getting to where we are now, back with music. And I was like, I'm just going to make a bunch of resin art and we'll sell it in the parking lot. I'll take the day off. We'll go hang out and have a good time. And then we'll just go back to work.
Right.
Wow, I should have took the whole week off of work that week. And
We both should have.
we both should have. I did not know this was going to happen. But this is around the whole dark carnival thing. So a lot of people are like, Dark Carnival provides, it gives. Well, I got lucky, and somebody I knew helped us get in. It was so, I'm so thankful for them because they put me and him in a place to be with one of our good friends. The last time was one of the last times we were going to get to be with them, and we didn't know it. But it was like, oh my goodness, music isn't done with us. No matter how much we want to be done with it, it's not done with. We're not. It's not done with us.
Something kept sending you little signs.
It has unfinished business with us that we have to. We gotta do. So we got to get in there. We worked our asses off during our day shift and went and partied our asses off at night. And oh man, I wouldn't do that again. I didn't like working and not being able to go super fully enjoy the gathering.
So what influences, like when I sat down with Bobby and I was like, well, who are some of your musical influences being, like a guitar player? He would say, like, oh, James Hetfield, his dad introduced him to Metallica kind of a thing. And
I've always liked ICP, but also I hate this because so you grow hate-love relationships with artists, and don't ever meet like people that you love. Like,
right?
For real.
Don't never meet your heroes.
Don't meet your heroes, man. I used to be a big Haystack fan. He was an original hip hop artist that worked with Jelly Roll before Jelly even blew up, and he's also worked with Yellow Wolf and other great underground artists and stuff. And it's just like wild that he freaking was so dirty.
Yeah.
The things he did. But anyway, I loved his music. I liked the way it sounded. ICP, Twisted. I love Twisted. I love Jamie Madrox, the sound of his voice. I just love the style.
My influences, believe it or not, are not Juggalo related.
I mean, I said Jem was one of my big ones.
Jem,
so,
she's not Juggalo that I know of.
My biggest influences is I'm a little bit older than her.
Okay.
And like, she was born in '91, so she kind of got to experience the '90s. She didn't get to experience the '90s like I experienced.
Right.
And growing up, like, Notorious B.I.G. was a big one for me. Bone Thugs and Harmony from Cleveland, Ohio, they were a big one for me. Ice Cube from California, from Compton, he was a big one for me. Like, people, it was mainly musicians that talked about real life things.
Right.
Because there's a lot of musicians out there, they're storytellers.
Yeah.
They tell you what they think you want to hear.
Right.
They wasn't talking about like what they was really going through, like Biggie did or Ice Cube did with NWA. Like there was an interview with NWA one time, and the reporter was like, it was brought up in the Straight Outta Compton movie, but I seen the actual real one years ago when they did the interview. They said, why do you talk about all this gang violence in your music? And he's like, we're just telling you a reflection of what we see.
Well, it's no different than the bluegrass guys telling you about the Great Depression and how they had to make, liquor to live. And, it's like you said, it's storytelling. And it might be at an urban level, or it might be at a hick level, or, what I mean? But I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
you're good.
What my introduction to rap and to hip hop, I had friends that listened to it, and I wasn't like opposed to it, and I found myself drawn to like, I like Cypress Hill. I thought they were hilarious.
I love Cypress Hill.
I thought they were absolutely hilarious. And Eminem, I was a little older when Eminem came out, but as soon as I heard like him rap, I was just like, he's not human.
Like
First
Crush
of all,
Groove
what
is
I
one of
mean?
my favorite movies, and I love Fat Boys. Fat Boys are my dude. Like I love LL Cool
Have you
J.
seen Disorderlies?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
I love Disorderlies.
That is such a good one. So I love Fat Boys and the what was Heavyweight? What was
Heavy D and the Boys?
Well, yeah, I like Heavy D and the Boys, but Fat Boys had an album put out, and it was. I wish I could think of the dang name, but it was a really good album.
But like I said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But I was so engrossed with grunge, man.
There ain't nothing wrong with that.
The first time I heard like Alice in Chains and Soundgarden, like other music didn't exist, and I didn't like exclude it for any reason other than I just got to hear more of this. Then it was like, okay, Alice in Chains, and then it was Soundgarden, and then it was like, Mudhoney and Screaming Trees and all that, all this grunge, and then by the time that all kind of faded out. Hip hop and rap had changed. It wasn't gangster rap. It wasn't like, I remember a buddy of mine turned me on to Tribe Called Quest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like the weirdest shit I'd ever heard in my life. I was like, I didn't know that. I didn't even know that was a thing. That's how like shaded I was. Had the blinders on, and I didn't do it intentionally. It's
You
just,
know who Busta Rhymes is, right? Mm-hmm. Did you know he originated in a Tribe Called Quest before he became solo?
I've heard that.
Yep.
Yeah. And I guess I'm one of those kind of guys where I know more about hip hop artists that became actors. You know, like like somebody would say, "Oh, it's got that rapper in it," and I'm like, "That dude's a rapper."
Right.
Then I would go and like, okay, well, I'll listen to some of his stuff, and but yeah, I usually discover him as an actor. No, I knew Ice Cube before he was an actor. but
Right.
I'm from the era of like Run DMC and
I like Run
and
DMC.
Houdini, and that was like the first stuff that I ever
I
heard.
like a lot of 80s and 90s stuff, but also like watching a lot of Ja Rule and Chingy.
Yeah,
I liked that stuff a lot too.
It's funny that you bring up Run DMC. We got to go see ICP on October 30th in Columbus, and we went to the merch booth or whatever, and she picked out a shirt she wanted, and the shirt that I picked out that I got, I bought it specifically because it was a Run DMC crossover ICP shirt. Like,
Oh,
it had
yeah.
them on it, but they were all dressed up as Run DMC, and it said Run ICP on the
That's
corner.
awesome. So, let's see. I covered. Do you have shows coming up?
No, we don't.
No, we take a
We're-
break during the winter
Okay,
season
yeah,
to
that's
work
right,
on
you
new
told me that.
material and get caught up on new merchandise, and then in the springtime we'll start, and then once again right after fall we go into taking a break and then just do it all over
Do you
again.
guys find it hard to get shows? Because I
In Coshocton County,
Right.
yeah,
Very much
in
so.
Coshocton County, very much so. There's no venues here.
right.
And I want to state that because it is so hard to find a place that is acceptance of you and the crowd you want to
Right,
bring.
right.
Like I have been turned down, and I'm always nice about it. I'm like, look, I want to have a show here. It's going to be a hip hop show, but the people that are attending, I'm going to keep it real. They all smoke, and
As long as you do it outside, who
Right,
cares?
right.
Oh, but nobody wants that
but
to
nobody. But this is also before things have changed because. We haven't, and there hasn't been no other venues though to book.
Right.
Like we used to do it all the time at Tony's Bar and Grill,
Yeah,
but COVID
okay.
completely shut down the bar, and
The owner of the bar, his mom's health has deteriorated since COVID quite rapidly, and he doesn't have time to do all the stuff he needs to fix up the bar to reopen it because he's always driving from here to Mansfield to take care of his mom, which is understandable, and I'm not mad at the guy. I
Right,
understand.
right.
Cedar Street wouldn't have us either.
Well, let's reverse that. When we first started out doing live shows here in Coshocton, we started at the Hut.
Yeah, we did start at the
okay.
Hut.
And we outgrew it very quickly.
Oh, it was so funny because it was all over Coshocton's Talk to Talk.
the second
What's going on
You had to go
there?
outside to change your mind at that place. It was so small.
The second show we put on there, we had the whole building completely filled, plus like 40 people in the parking lot trying to get in.
right.
Coshocton was sending undercover PD in on us because there's people calling in saying that we was doing gang activities and stuff like that.
Wow.
And everything.
Yeah.
And after that show, I was like, it's time for us to move. We need to find a bigger place. We went to Cedar Street, and Cedar Street was like, oh, we don't want no rap music. No.
And that falls under. There was a show that had been hosted there a while back by Hatchet Slim, and
Shout out to Hatchet Slim.
Hatchet, and his Adam Fugate, and he had that's his real name, and he had a show there. And he had brought Jelly Roll, and people all the time are like, Jelly Roll didn't come to Coshocton.
Yes,
yeah,
Jelly
he
Roll
did.
was here.
Back when it used to play, I don't know how much he paid him at the time, but let's just say like probably $350. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Back then it was like $350 to get him.
This was like 2009, 2010, before Jelly Roll really blew up like
Right.
he was. When he was still doing like underground rap. Jelly
Yeah.
Roll was here at Cedar Street.
Damn.
But a confrontation broke out between Jelly Roll's people
Entourage.
and the barkeep and owner. So it just they never wanted to have rap back there again. And
We started doing shows at Tony's Bar and Grill, and Cedar Street saw how much money we was bringing Tony's. Like,
Right.
like every time we do a show there, he would sell out of whiskey, he would sell out of vodka, and he would sell out of ice, guaranteed, no matter what.
that's the same way it was at the Hut too.
And Cedar Street saw how much money we was making Tony, and they was sending people to us like, hey, we want you to do a show here. And I was like,
Right.
No,
Not
you turned
happening
us
now.
down so
I
many
was like, when we
times.
needed your help, you didn't want to help us.
Yeah, if I
But
had-
now that you see we're making him money, you want us there.
Right,
I'm
right.
good
If
on
I
all
had a
that.
venue, man, I don't give a shit.
Well,
If you
I'm
want to
telling
play
you what,
polka
Coshocton
music.
needs to get a venue that is like for everybody,
Right.
you know?
Well, I've talked to the other artists, and like I said, I play in a band. Me and a friend of mine, we do acoustic shows, like acoustic grunge shows and stuff. And we find it hard to find gigs, just because not really hard to find them, but like a winery gig I'm not knocking these because
Yeah.
they're
Right.
good gigs, man. But it's like winery gigs and bar and grill gigs are cool, but your background music and it's kind of an odd
Right.
dynamic. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then I talked to Bobby, and the general consensus between like the metal crowd, from the ones that I've talked to anyway, and I can't speak for the entire metal nation, but they say the same thing. It's like, yeah, you have to go up north, like you go up to Akron, Canton, Cleveland, go up to those places, and there's slots for you up there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm not digging on Coshocton because Coshocton, it is what it is here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's kind of a drag that we have to truck up to a state or a town somewhere else to play, but it's improving here in Coshocton. Where they're like with Studio 117 and places like that.
Right.
That I know when Mickey started that. Shout out to Mickey and Studio 117. Like he was inundated with people wanting to play here, of all genres and all
Right.
everything.
That's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We're happy that somebody was doing something like that because, like, when we moved to Tony's Bar and Grill, just because we're rappers, we didn't want like the shows that we put on specifically to be rap music.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we
right.
know everybody has their own, taste in music stuff. So we would bring in people like Anthony and ASC.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
We would bring in hip hop artists like Rich Regal from Lancaster. And we would bring in all these different types of genre because, yeah, we charged money at the door for people to get in, but it wasn't about making money for
Well,
us.
there's logistics. You have to cover certain things.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
not
there's a
only
lot of things that we're doing behind the scenes for the show. So, like, we have raffles, we have to pay artists. Sometimes we have to pay for other artists, gas money just
Right.
to get there,
Right.
to come be a part. And, like, it's all, buying new equipment. You had to buy batteries so that the artist can perform.
Yeah,
that
and none
night.
of us are independently wealthy. We're doing this because we
I
love
work
music.
at Wendy's. I
You're
mean,
right.
like
Yeah,
back then I was
sell
making
well- yeah.
$8.75, and every week I'm buying new equipment and buying merchant stuff to make my own merchandise, and I'm done trying to middleman it. I'm trying to do it all myself.
I think in the end that's what means more than money anyway, because like we said, we didn't get into music to make money.
No.
If we wanted to get into something to make money, we went to college and been a doctor. you
Yeah.
know? So it's like that, in the end, I think that's what makes the biggest difference with me anyway. It's like, the bands that I play in, we're self-sufficient. We don't make a lot of money. We do it for us. You know what I mean?
Like the shows we were putting on is for artists by artists.
And we wanted, the show wasn't about us. Like everybody's like, you put the show on.
You should headline.
You should
We
headline.
never headlined our own shows.
Never
It was
once.
like that's not the
Right.
way it's supposed
And
to
then-
be.
That's very respectful.
In the
of it,
8 years that we did music events at Tony's Bar and Grill and stuff
We
like that.
had bands like the Gods of Chaos that headlined. ASE has headlined the shows. We had Jay Villain out of Columbus come and headline. We had people like J Rock.
Damian Quinn from
Yeah, we had Damian Quinn from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
We've had Trey Pounds come out, which is
With-
Shaggy Two Dope's little brother.
Oh, okay.
So
Like we've brought art, and the shows were never about us, because we know what it's like being in a small town
Right.
like Coshocton. Not everybody gets their chance to shine because we had witnessed at a lot of shows, when people pay to see a big name artist, they don't give two craps about the opening artist. They're outside smoking. Or
You
hanging
got to
out
be
with their friends.
really, really different and really good if you're like the first band out of 8.
yeah,
right.
You know what I mean? Because
Right.
by the time the sixth band gets up there, hey, what was the name of the first band?
Right, exactly.
Unless
And-
you went out there and you did something that stuck, and it happens. Sometimes it don't happen. And even if you're the third band in a lineup of 8 bands, like you said, they don't give a shit who you are, man. Bring out Pantera. We don't give a shit who you are.
Exactly. And and that was that was the stipulation that we always wanted to put behind our music. We wanted everybody to have their chance whether it be a 10-minute set, a 20-minute set, or they just wanted to do 2 songs. You were going to have your chance to shine no matter what. You know, we would always try to make sure everybody was in front of the stage.
It's your inner
for you.
juggalo, man. You said it's
And
about
we tried
family, it's about
really
taking care of
hard
each other.
For us to figure out the way to pay out of pocket, so the artist didn't have to.
Right.
Because nowadays, a lot of people don't understand that artists have to pay to play.
Oh, yeah, sell
and if you
tickets.
don't sell
Yeah.
your tickets, that comes out of your pocket. You have to have a job to do music.
Right.
And the people,
It
and
can't
there's
be
people
your-
out there that don't understand.
Right.
They just
Very
think
rarely can
they
it
can
be
live
your
in their
job.
mom's basement or live off their girlfriends and just, I'm going to be a rapper. No,
It
or
don't work
or
that
just a
way.
music star in general. It don't work that way. You got to work hard.
You know, even if you build your own in-house studio, guess what? That the sound foam on the walls, that's not cheap. The
Right,
microphone
right.
you record with, that's not
Right.
cheap. The monthly licensing fee that you have to use for your recording program, that's not cheap.
Right, right. Well, is there anything else you guys want to cover?
We could go on and on. So,
Anything you want to know, we're open
Yeah,
book. You
we're-
can ask, we can tell.
yeah.
I guess, like, when it comes to content of your music,
Okay.
how would you describe what your music is about, or who your music is for? I guess. And
My music.
I'm not asking this to
Cool.
be facetious. I'm
No,
not.
it's cool.
I'm curious because I have very little hip hop rap, just as I have very little bluegrass or mountain music. You know what I mean? Like, so who do you?
I would say, from my point of view, my music is for the average person. You know, somebody that didn't grow up in like the ghetto or whatever, but you know, grew up in blue collar society, but still had to go through some struggles
Right.
to survive where they're at.
Good old middle trash.
Yeah, middle white trash. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. For real. I agree with what he says, but it's for anybody and everybody that can relate to what I have to say.
Right, right.
I mean, if they're feeling imaginative and they can relate to my imagination for a song, or the love song that I wrote for him, or the hate song I wrote about some stupid person.
Right. Or there might be, maybe there's a young person that sees you guys and they think, man, I feel
my
that
big
way
thing
too.
was to be
Yeah, like
a big girl, an inspiration for all the big girls out there. You can do it and be fat. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's
It's okay.
okay.
Like years and years ago.
And be yourself. That,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's important.
Years-
RuPaul said it best. If you don't love yourself, then how the hell do you expect somebody else to love
Absolutely, absolutely. Well said.
Years and years ago, I recorded this solo song, and it featured a guy that I used to do music with, Jason Spades, and the name of the song was called "Ambitions of the Suicidal." And that song was basically about like when you hit the lowest point in your life and you feel like you want to blow your head off. That was like my planning point of the song, like how I was going to commit suicide
Right.
and stuff. And we played a side stage that somebody built at the Gathering one year, and I performed that song. And this guy came up to me and he says, you know, I've heard your song before. And he hugged me. He's like, I want to say thank you. And I'm like, what the hell? He's like, dude, my mom passed away, and when I felt that I was at my lowest point, my girl left me. And he's like, this song helped me get through, you know.
That's awesome, man.
And I mean, it is awesome, but, you know, it's sad that it took a song about committing suicide for him to relate to. You know what I
Right, but
mean?
everything lined up, man.
Right.
Everything, you know, all the planets were in line. That guy got to hear that song, you know. As like I said,
it's
people.
always surprising the things that, like, when people come up and talk to us. Like, after Viceland, it was so funny. We were getting out of the car, and we were getting ready to go into Royal King. And this guy says, hey, that girl was on Viceland. And I was like, yeah, I was. That was totally me. And then we had taken that break for a while. I had a girl come to my drive-thru. She was real serious, and I figured, oh, it's probably just something about our food or the menu. She's like, I got a serious question to ask you. And I was like, okay. When are you going to make music again? And I was like, what?
Wow, that's,
What?
yeah.
You ever
that's
heard of
awesome.
a department store called Roses? It's kind of like a Big Lots, but they put it in like urban areas, and
Okay.
like they sell. It's supposed to be like a religious store, but they sell like cheap alternative stuff there, and I go and buy all my hats there because I can get blank colored fitted hats for like $5 a pop.
Right.
So I have more hats than I know what to do with. I was over in Indiana visiting my mom, and I went to a Roses over there, and she was on the phone with me, And this guy saw me. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing shopping here? You're a rapper. You shouldn't be.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be shopping at places like this." And I'm like, "Bro, being a musician ain't all it's cut out to be. Just because you see me on TV or on the internet or whatever, or playing the Gathering, doesn't mean I'm rich, bro. I'm just as broke as you are."
Yeah,
Like, TLC is one of my that's another big influence in my life is TLC. I love them. He even took me to go see him. It was so cool. I was so stoked. But when they were broke. The record label paid for their vehicles, which they could have bought themselves with their own money, but the record label didn't even give it to them.
Right.
They bought it. It was like, oh, you've sold this many albums.
They had the biggest selling album in the early 90s. Like, their album went triple gold, and they were just as broke as me and you because their label was screwing them so bad.
Well, we had Charlie Bonnet III on the podcast, and we had Anthony Corder on the podcast, and we kind of touched on that. It's like, Charlie said it best. He was like, everybody thinks, that, you got X amount of followers and you got videos up and you're playing shows that you're some big rock star, and he's, playing with his grandson and having coffee just like the rest, what I mean? He's
right.
like, and those guys, shout out to those guys, are some of the most down to earth people.
And
I mean,
we got booked at a venue over in Indiana, in New Haven, Indiana, called Carl's Tavern. Shout out to Carl's Tavern, Annette, and them. They seen us on the Viceland documentary and stuff like that, and they booked us to perform at their venue. Well, when we went to their venue to do the show, she came up and she's like, "We seen you guys at the Gathering, and we followed you for an hour and a half, trying to get the gall to come and talk to you." And we was like, "Bro, we're just like you. You ain't got to be, if you see us out and about, come shake our hand, say what's up.
Right,
shoot your shit with us."
Yeah, you're very approachable.
And across the street at 6th Street Tattoo, they used to do a block party every year for Halloween. They used to block off the end of the roads, and they would have a block party. And they would book us and some other artists from local Ohio to perform and stuff there. And the first time they booked us, they was like, "Do you guys need anything special? Do you need a bottle of Crown? Do you need cigarettes? Do you need this?" And we're like, "Just give us a mic and tell us when to go."
I want a square watermelon. I want 2 brand new fishing reels with no string.
It is wild the things that people ask for, and we've tried really hard to accommodate things for certain artists, but it's just not easy. But yeah, there has been some crazy things like a green room, and if there isn't one, you have to make like a makeshift green room for them. And
but the acoustic thing that I do, we got booked at the Dover County Fair, and the lady's like, "Man, it's going to be you guys." And then there was this AC/DC tribute band. I think they were Dirty Deeds. If it was Dirty Deeds, shout out to them guys because they were amazing. They sounded killer.
I was gonna say, didn't Dirty Deeds just play one of the summer festivals here in town?
I think it was the same band. They were really super good. But anyway, we get there, and the lady's name I think was Kim, and she was super duper nice. And she's like handing us free T-shirts from the event and saying, "Hey, if you guys want something to eat, just let us know." And she said, "Well, I'll show you the your green room." And we're just like, "Ooh, green room," we're like, and literally we're like walking through the fairgrounds. My buddy's got his guitar, just like, okay. So we walk down to the track, and there's this really nice stage, and we go behind it, and there's like a fifth wheel camper, and it's just like super nice. And she was like, "Yeah, you guys can go in there since it's so hot. There's plenty of water and there's recliners and everything." We were just like we had imposter syndrome. We were just thinking, do they think that we're like famous or something? Like, don't tell them.
Like years ago, we got booked to do this show. It was in Pipestem, West Virginia. And us and a couple of other artists that we worked with at the time all got booked to do the show. So we all road tripped together and booked a hotel all together and stuff like that. And we get there, and, we're hanging out at the hotel getting ready for the show or whatever, and we leave to go to the show. And we're out in the boondocks. Like, there ain't civilizations for a while. And we get there, and where they have the venue set up, and we walk in these back double doors, and there's marble, like legit marble floors.
Wow.
With like gold in
and
it.
marble pillars holding the roof up.
So looking around like, we're in the right place.
I looked at her, I was like, I don't think we belong here,
Yeah,
man.
I'm like, we're in the wrong venue because like we're playing some grungy looking places usually.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
to end up in an immaculate place was like, What?
And then come to find out it was the right place, and the very next night, Nappy Roots were playing there. And I'm like, how the hell did we get here?
We went down to West Virginia 100 years ago when I played in another band, and it was like Club 41. And it was called Club 41 because it was on Highway 41.
Gotcha.
How original.
Yeah, so we pull in, man, and we walk in, and there's like Alan Jackson blaring out of the jukebox, and there's a bunch of people sitting around, like farmer-looking fellows, and I'm just thinking, this looks like a scene out of the Blues Brothers, man. Like,
Man, I
where's
love
the
Blues
chicken
Brothers.
wire kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And
You know how to play rawhide,
yeah,
right?
that's what I was thinking. I don't even know Rawhide, man. Well, we walk up to the bar, and the bartender's like, "Oh, you guys are in the band?" And we're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh, man, they were super nice to us. You guys, are you hungry?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. I can't eat before a show. I just get nervous." Well, they ordered like 4 Domino's pizzas. Give the guys that drank beer, said, "You just let us know what you want, man. It's on us." And again, it was kind of like, do they think we're like popular or something?
Right.
But they were super duper nice, and we were still kind of worried about the country vibe because we don't do country at all. Like, we do a punk version of Johnny Cash. That was it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But when we played, though, they loved it.
That's good.
Yeah, even the guys in cowboy hats. We're playing Candlebox, man, and they're like,
Yeah,
so,
we went to an open mic night at the barn in Zanesville, and there's a lot of older people there, and we're like, oh man, we're not gonna go over
Because
very
the
well.
promoter of the open mic was like, "Oh, you guys got to perform. You got to perform.
Yeah,
you
he's
gotta
been wanting
perform."
us to come back.
And we get there, and when we first got there, there was a lot of old heads there and stuff like that. And I looked at her and I was like, "I don't know if we should do
Right.
this."
No, we did it, and they loved us.
that's cool.
And I
Yeah.
was like, it surprised me because
Yeah.
like, it was elderly people.
Right.
And I was like, man, we ain't doing no Elvis Presley or nothing like that.
We always, when we do the acoustic stuff, man, if we're playing somewhere where there's food and you're playing, and it's like, you kind of look out, and at the end of the song, if somebody puts their fork down, and it's like, you nailed it.
Yeah.
If they're stopped eating their linguine long enough to clap, then you nailed it,
If
man.
they stopped in mid-bite,
Right, put their dinner roll down, was like,
have you seen the videos going around on social media called like how to get fired from your band number?
oh yeah, where the guy hits the
Where
thing.
he's got the soundboard.
sound,
and
yeah,
keeps-
some weird effect. Yeah. Well, guys, I got a question that's completely not music related.
That's okay.
And I ask it of all my guests, and I'll start with Ryan, aka the fat kid, not the fat kid.
Yeah, fat kid.
Just fat kid.
Yep.
Like Cher.
Yep, pretty much.
And not the Cher.
Right.
Okay. If you could pick a superpower between the power of invisibility and the power of flight, which one would you pick, and why would you pick it? And as a bonus, would you use that power for good or evil? Evil being mischievous, not like hide the kids evil, you know what I mean? Like mischievous, maybe, pull pranks on people, that kind of fun evil, not bad evil. Or if you choose bad evil, there's no judgment.
I would go with invisibility
Yeah.
because I'm fat and gravity's a bitch and I'm scared of heights. But
Good answer. Good answer. I've never had anybody answer it because of vanity before. It's like, because I'm fat, man. I just want to be invisible.
and gravity's a bitch, man. Just because you're smaller doesn't mean I don't fall slower, okay?
Right.
But I would use it for evil. Just to, I'm a bit of a prankster and a joker. Like if you came into my work and like I didn't notice you were there, you'd see me like walk up to a coworker and be like, "Squirrel!"
Right.
Just to get them to look and stuff. So I'd do it just to prank people and
Right.
make them think they're crazy.
Emily?
Invisibility. 'Cause
Yeah.
knowledge is power.
See, that comes up a lot.
That's a good one, too.
Charlie Bonnet said that he would do that. He said that he would be invisible so he could spy on people and hear what they got going on, and maybe he could stop bad things from kind of happening. Like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah.
That,
Most definitely.
I wasn't going that route. I was more worried about picking on people.
The knowledge to know things that I need to maybe.
You could sneak into like Harvard and learn
Yeah.
whatever you or anywhere and learn whatever.
Right.
I never thought of that. That's
Yeah,
really
but
good.
sometimes the more you know is the more closer you get to your demise, though, too.
There's some things I wish I didn't know
Right.
already.
So would you use it for good or evil?
Probably both.
Both.
It kind of like what do I say, the anti-hero type of,
Kind of like Deadpool.
Yeah, kind of like that.
I had my very first podcast. I was lucky enough to have the Filthy Heathens on, and Bronson had a super amazing point. He said he would pick flight because he could fly up so high that you couldn't see him.
Yeah.
So he would harness both, and I was like, "That's genius.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
but
is.
That's like evil genius level. That's good." Well, Emily, Fat Kid Ryan.
Yeah.
I find it hard to call another grown man fat kid.
I've got
and
the name.
Oh no,
I-
it's so
I-
funny. Like we at the old Wendy's, like that was the only way to get his attention. One time we were working on the line, and the manager he kept yelling, Ryan.
Right.
She just screams "fat kid" really loud, and he's like, "Yeah."
Well, I'm Bill. Everybody knows me as Bill, man. And my given name isn't Bill. It's actually David William, and everybody calls me Bill. It's because my grandpa's name was Bill, and I was the first grandson, that kind of crap. But yeah, I'll go to a doctor's office and be sitting there, and they'll come out and go, David, and I'm just like, hey man, where's this Dave guy at?
Hey, they're looking for David over here.
And then they'll say my last name, and I'm like, oh yeah, I am David Higley, I guess. I forgot.
But I'm so used to people calling me Fat Kid. When somebody calls me by my government name, it's
Yeah, I have a friend that's his nickname is Surf, and he came here in Surf. He came here in 7th or 8th grade from California, and he was a skateboarder, had the long cool bangs, and the independent truck shirt on. He was a skater, and we called him Surf. Well, you fast forward 30-some years, 40 years, my mom one time looks at me, she's like, what is his real name? And I was like, Jason, and she was like, really? She was disappointed. I was like, well, what did you think it was? She's like, I don't know, I didn't think it was Jason.
it's gotten to the point to where my own mother don't even call me by my real name.
He was Fat Kid.
She calls me Fat Kid, and everybody in our music community that's ever worked with us or knows my family, even refers to her as Mama Fat Kid. That's Mama Fat Kid.
She's probably like, thank you.
No,
She loves
it's
it.
even on her
Yeah,
Facebook. It says her name is Mama Fat Kid
That's
and everything. So it's funny.
Well, guys, thanks again for coming in, man. I
Thank
really
you for
appreciate
having
it.
us,
I got
man.
an education today, man. I really did. And like I said, that if you guys know other artists, or if there's other artists watching,
I definitely want to send Jay
Yeah.
Villain, Jay Bazaar, a lot of our friends. Rainer.
Yeah.
Definitely send Rainer.
Rainer's another local artist that just moved to Coshocton that we've worked with, and we've watched that guy grow.
Yeah, he's a great
immaculate.
artist.
very awesome. Yeah, hook us up, man. We're open to anything. And for the people that are watching, the hundreds of people that are watching,
Yeah, I doubt that.
the 114 subscribers, and that's another thing. If you have liked and subscribed, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. We all appreciate it. I wanted to give a shout out to Locals Barbershop up on the hill with Jay, and down here with Brandon and Aaron. If you need your haircut, you need to see them guys, man. They're really good at what they do.
I don't know if I need a haircut.
You would be a perfect candidate. No, don't ruin it, man.
No,
You got
no.
cool hair. Yeah,
Oh man,
yeah.
his hair and beard, he's had different looks, and it's so funny. One time somebody thought he was Ritz,
The rapper.
the rapper, and then another time he had been called a mini jelly roll. That was really cute.
Like a Swiss roll.
Yeah.
Pecan roll, okay?
Pecan roll, yeah. Well, guys, thank you for joining us, man. I really appreciate it. I want to give a shout out to my amazing wife at the Crazy Cake Lady Bakery, custom cake shop, 119 South 6th Street. No, North 6th Street. The Crazy Cake Lady at 119 South 6th Street. Open.
And we have some shout outs we like to give.
Shout out to 6th Street Tattoo.
Wilson's Carpet and Furniture. Zach, we love you, man.
Dallas at the Milo in Columbus. It's a new venue we started working with. And it's a small venue, but it's amazing.
Nice.
It's a building owned by artists. It don't matter what kind of artist you are, painter, music, whatever. It's a building owned by artists to promote their work. And they have a stage sound set up, and they do painting expositions and
nice.
stuff. And they've got paint, the artists' paint works all over the wall that they try to do an open house to sell their artwork with and stuff. It's a cool place.
Very cool.
Shout
Well, hey,
out to our work for giving us jobs so we
Right.
can continue to pay for what we love doing. And,
and shout out to the Baconator. That's a damn good sandwich,
Yeah, big
man.
shout out to the Baconator, yo. But for real, shout out to our family and friends. We love all you guys and everybody that supports us.
Awesome, guys. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank Mickey for making this possible
Thanks,
for
Bob.
us.